Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm a medical doctor and I am disappointed in medicine. But luckily, that's going to change because we are at the beginning of a biotech revolution that will transform our bodies, our brains, and our society. But let me first explain why I am so disappointed in current-day medicine. So, the big problem, in fact, in medicine, and why I'm so disappointed in present-day medicine, is that we cannot cure most diseases. We cannot cure Alzheimer's disease, heart disease, or a stroke. We cannot undo the damage caused by these diseases. We cannot cure most of the thousands of genetic diseases that exist. We cannot cure even a simple common cold. So that's very unfortunate, and as a physician, most what we often can do is giving medication which mainly suppresses symptoms or alleviates pain, but this does not treat the real underlying cause of a disease. But this will change. In the near future, we will be able, for the first time in human history, to actually cure many diseases. And this will be possible because we are at the brink of a revolution going on in medicine, which is the development of much better tools, much better molecular tools, which will enable us to much more accurately and effectively intervene in bodily processes compared, in fact, to treatments we use today. Because currently, medicine mainly relies on medication and surgery, and these methods are very imprecise. Take medication, and most medication involves tiny molecules that act everywhere in the body instead of only in the organs, tissues, or cells where you want it to work. The same for surgery. Surgery involves repairing things with very blunt tools, but most diseases originate on a molecular level, so obviously microsurgery doesn't work on that scale. So today, in fact, we are practicing medicine with sledgehammers instead of with very fine tweezers. But currently, scientists are creating all kinds of very fine tweezers. And I will give you some examples. Take CRISPR-Cas9. It's a gene editing tool invented a few years ago that will transform medicine. CRISPR-Cas9, in fact, is a molecular scissor that can cut out, rewrite, or insert genes. And it has the potential to actually cure genetic diseases, to cure HIV, or to treat cancer. And we are already witnessing some impressive results today. Take this patient, a little girl diagnosed with a very aggressive blood cancer at the age of 3 months. Scientists used a gene editing technology similar to CRISPR-Cas9 to modify her immune system, to re-engineer her immune system so she could push back her cancer. And she made an impressive recovery. After 1.5 years, she is still in remission, she's still alive, and that's a world first. This has never happened before, in fact. Normally, this little girl wouldn't be here anymore today were it not for this new technology. And the speed at which these gene editing technologies are evolving is impressive. Take, for example, in 1999, it cost a few $100,000 to change one gene. It also took 2 years' time, on average. In 2010, the price had dropped to $5,000, and now you can change a gene for $40, and it only takes, in fact, 1 day, 2 days of work, instead of 2 years of work. Or take another promising technology, immunotherapy. This technology targets cancer far more accurately compared to current treatments like chemotherapy. Chemotherapy poisons not only the cancer cells, it poisons all the cells in the whole body, causing serious side effects. But by contrast, in fact, immunotherapy incites immune cells to attack only the cancer and not the healthy tissues. So it's much more accurate. Or take optogenetics. This involves inserting light-sensitive proteins into the membranes of cells. And when light is shined on those proteins, these proteins activate the cells. So you can switch cells on and off with remarkable precision by using only light. And scientists used, in fact, optogenetics to activate the hunting instinct in mice, so that a mouse suddenly started hunting all moving objects in its cage, even lifeless moving objects. It became very aggressive. In other experiments, scientists implanted fearful memories into the brains of mice. And afterwards, they also could delete those memories. And in other experiments, scientists managed to cure depression in mice by activating happy memories. So we will go to a future where we will be able to much more finely control specific cells in the body. If you have pain, for example, because a damaged nerve causes this pain, well, your doctor can switch off this nerve by using optogenetics, by using light. Or if you're suffering from depression, your doctor could alleviate depression by activating specific areas in your brain. And besides lights, all kinds of other methods are being developed to switch cells on and off, like using ultrasound waves or using infrared waves. Another paradigm shift, or another technology, in fact, that's coming, relates, in fact, to a paradigm shift that's going on, being more than your genome. Your genome are all your genes, but it's more complicated than that. Besides the genome, in fact, there is also the epigenome, which is the intricate molecular machinery surrounding the DNA, and the epigenome, in fact, can decide which genes are active or not. It functions, in fact, as an on-off switch for genes. And there is an extra layer of complexity. It's also the transcriptome. And the transcriptome determines which genes are active, or more specifically, it functions more as a dimmer switch. So it can determine how active a gene precisely is. Is the gene active for 10% or is it active for 90%? So the epigenome and the transcriptome provide a much finer regulation of our DNA, of our gene expression. And entirely new classes of drugs are being developed that act on the transcriptome and on the epigenome, and these new drugs will enable us to far more accurately treat or target diseases. So these were some examples how in the near future sledgehammers will be more and more replaced by fine tweezers. But these tools will be very, very powerful, and we have to use them responsibly. How will we use them, and who will use them? Take, for example, the following, regarding the question, who will use this technology? Everywhere in the world, biohacking groups are sprouting up, where everyone can experiment with reprogramming life. Also, you can buy online kits nowadays for $75 to change genes in bacteria or in other life forms. So you don't need $1 million lab anymore. You can reprogram life from your kitchen counter. And of course, all these amateur biotechnologists, they have good intentions, or most of them, but what with people who have less good intentions? What about using these new technologies for bioterrorism? A bioterrorist could use CRISPR-Cas9 or other technologies to create a very infective virus, or to create a virus that causes cancer. Or a bioterrorist, in fact, could modify an existing bacteria so that it becomes resistant to all known antibiotics. But preventing people from experimenting with these new technologies at home or somewhere else is not a solution according to many specialists. In fact, better equipping labs to rapidly respond to a bioterror threat and putting up biosensors in public spaces like airports or railway stations would be a more promising solution. Now we can also ask ourselves the question, how far can we go with these new technologies? Will we use them to mainly cure diseases? Or will we also use them to prevent diseases, like making people immune to HIV? Is this still medicine, or is this already human enhancement, about which we will come to hear a lot in the coming decades? Also, we can ask ourselves the question, what about other life forms? This company can clone your diseased dog. And what about, for example, pigs? Scientists created pigs that are resistant to specific diseases. They also use these technologies to create salmon, which grows much faster. They develop plants which are more drought resistant. And they can even insert gene drives into mosquitoes to wipe out the entire species in order to get rid of malaria. So these interventions, especially done in the wild, could result in all kinds of unpredictable outcomes, which gives rise to a lot of ethical questions and heated debates. And what about using these technologies to address aging and make people live longer? A lot of companies are trying to find ways to extend human lifespan, like this company. It's a Calico, it's a sister company of Google. Or take another company, Human Longevity, set up by the Biotech billionaire Kris Verburgh, which aims to prolong human lifespan. And this is a quote of Bill Maris. He works for Google, and every year he receives a few $100 million to invest in companies that want to extend lifespan. And he believes that already in this century, the technology will be developed that will enable people to live for 500 years, while still looking as if they are 30 years old. So we might say that we are at the beginning of a revolution. In fact, we can draw a parallel with the computer revolution at the end of the 20th century. Back then, the rise of the information era revolutionized our lives, our society, the way we work. The same will happen in the 21st century. But instead of building and reprogramming computers, we will build and reprogram life. We will go from reprogramming software, digital software, to reprogramming biological software in the 21st century. So in this respect, we might say that we can speak of two new eras, or make the distinction between two biotech eras. The first era, in fact, spanning the 17th century to 2017, which was characterized by very imprecise and blunt treatments like macrosurgery and classic medication, and most diseases are in fact incurable, and most symptoms can be at best reduced or suppressed. But now we are at the beginning of the second biotech age, and in this age, medicine is much more precise and accurate and effective. And in fact, a lot of diseases will be curable and life can be rewritten. So as a medical doctor, I am witnessing an important change in the sense that we are finally creating tools that really could make a difference in the health of people. So the advice I want to give you today is the following. Try to live as healthy as possible. Eat healthy, don't smoke, exercise, so that you can live long enough to profit from these new technologies, enabling you to live a long, very productive, and especially very healthy life. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you.